What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another special interview edition of Third and Longhorn. Today we have Jaylan Ford with us.
Yeah, we
Welcome,
do.
Jaylan. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off, man. I think a lot of people don't know the history of how you got to Texas, right? Like, you've been here for a minute. A lot of people don't know that you were actually committed to Utah, and then you flipped towards the end. I think it was last second, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I don't think you didn't do an official to Texas, did you? Well, Can you take us through that story a little bit?
Yeah, man. Where do you start, right? So Utah, the reason I was committed to Utah in the first place was towards my junior year, like towards the beginning of my senior year. Utah was probably like my biggest school, my biggest offer that at the time that I thought, this is a good program. They develop people well. I didn't really have like big schools like Texas or Oklahoma. None of the top Big 12 schools like SEC didn't have any of that. And I think for me, it was like it came down to them and like Texas Tech and some smaller schools. And the biggest, I think, when I told people, I like Utah, I think, being from Texas, when you tell people that, like, Utah, like, really? Like Mormons? Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? So, but like, that's what I'm saying. I went out there, I took a visit, so I got to see Salt Lake, I got to see the mountains, I got to see, I got to see the landscape and how everything was, I got to see the school. And I didn't really have a problem with it because for me, it was strictly about ball, it was strictly about coming here, doing what I, work so hard to do. And, on top of that, getting my education, obviously. But I didn't really see any problem with, being outside my comfort zone, being outside my home state. And so, I think later on, I decided to commit later on. And this is like all going on during my senior year. And so, get around to November. And here we are, I've been having a great season. My high school's in the playoffs. And I think like the first round, here comes Texas, and they pull up to the school, and they all just like on the sideline just looking at us like this. Yeah. And, like it was probably, I think they was the only school there that day, so it was like Texas is at practice, and everybody like they're like, oh, who Texas looking at? And then like towards the end of practice, I'll never forget. Somebody came up to me. He's like, bro, I don't know if you noticed, but Texas was following you the whole time. And, like me, I'm into practice. I'm not even really paying attention. Yeah, and so, boom, my coach told me, hey, come meet me in the office. Texas want to come talk to you. And so they bring me to the office. They offer me a scholarship right then and there.
That's wow. Man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And, like, it really didn't process at the time for me. And then, I told my mom. I didn't even post, people post their offers. I didn't post none of that on Twitter. That's just not my type of,
That's your style.
Yeah, exactly. I'm, real cool, laid back, quiet type dude. And so, I got the offer. No one really knew. And as time went on, I was like, I've been with Utah for so long. I'm gonna stay with them. Just like I like being loyal. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They trusted me. They believed in me early on instead of being later now. And so I didn't really have a problem going to Utah. And then you fast forward and you get to the day I got to make my decision, that's going to change my life forever. And it's like I'm 18, like,
You were still committed to Utah at that time?
Yeah, at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to, they do the home visits with the coaches, all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the coaches came. The coaches came, met with my mom, my dad, like we was chilling. Boom, we get to the signing day. And like the day before, like I couldn't even sleep. So I'm in I'll go into my mom's room and I'll wake her up out of her sleep talking about like, Mom, like I don't know if I'm ready for this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm ready to really make this decision to go to Utah. And so we talked about it. We sat down. I knew I had Texas on the table. Yeah. I kind of missed the ball. So like the reason I didn't go with Texas is because I felt like at the time Texas wasn't really developing the players how Utah were. And, that's not any disrespect to, what everybody's done in this program, all the coaches, everything. I just felt like me personally.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time, I would have had a better development process going to Utah rather than Texas. But, one thing that my dad had told me was just like, because my biggest thing is I want to get to the NFL. And he was just telling me like, man, he's like, I believe in you. Everybody believe in you. And he was just like, if you bet on yourself and, wherever you go, the NFL is going to find you. And I think those words always resonated with me. And so, you know, I kind of, as time went on, man, I was just like, you know what, Mom, I don't think I want to go to Utah no more. So, boom. It's 7 o'clock the next morning. I haven't slept.
I'm about to say, how long were y'all up? How long were you and Mom up?
Up all night, man. I'm like, this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke her up. Like, I ain't been, like, I got to sign the next day. Like, the school, they ready. They gonna have everything set up for me to sign with the rest of my boys. And my mom was like, well, first things first is you got to let the school know. And I'm like, man.
That is a mom answer.
Right?
That is a mom
So,
answer.
boom, 7 o'clock in the morning, I got to call my coach. And I remember he answered the phone like, what's up, man? How you doing? You ready? You ready to make this decision? You ready? We're all excited. You know, the coaches in their little room.
He's sitting over there. He on the phone. I can see this. He on the phone saying, "Coach, you might want to sit down for this."
Man, I'm over there like I'm like about to cry. Like I'm in tears. Like man, I'm like yeah, cause like yeah, you know what I'm saying. I hate being the bearer of bad news. That's just one of my biggest things, letting people down. And so you know, I had to break the news to them, and they was just like confused. They was like, "What's going on?" Because like I said, I never really told anybody I had that Texas offer.
So they don't even know it.
Not really. They didn't really know. But yeah, so boom, they go down. Then so that was the first part. Then they talking to me. They trying to convince me to go ahead sign.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, nah. Like just give me some time, right? Because this was only the first signing day or whatever. Right. So boom, the next part, I had to go to the school. So everybody already at the
high school.
Yeah, I got to go to my school.
They got all their ceremony. Yeah.
I got to. It's like,
Is Utah blowing you up at this time?
oh yeah, they're blowing me up. I'm not even answering the phone at this point.
Yeah.
Like coaches, players, they texted me. Like somehow they found out that Texas was like, you know, they offered me. And they had a quarterback that's there, right? Cam Rising. He had texted me.
Yeah.
He was like, bro, I've been to Texas. I've already been there. He's like, it's not what you think, this and that. And he was like trying to, you know what I'm saying? And I'm on my way, walking into the building of my school. Like they got this whole ceremony for me. My boy Marvin, he went to Oklahoma, and then another one, my boy Tori, he went to Colorado. So boom, they got our pictures with the schools and everything. Some of my teachers got on Utah shirts. Oh man! And
First Stevens, you might want to take that.
First thing I do is I run up in there, and I'm basically at this point I'm crying. Like I'm like, man, I don't know what to like I'm 18. Like I'm like, it's a roller coaster for me, you know. So boom, my head coach, he bring me in. We go into the room, and I just start breaking down, telling them like what happened, like you know why I just all of a sudden they got this change of heart. And he's like, well, and at this point, it's like, you got to make a decision because, like, if you don't go with Utah, well, no one else has been recruiting me because I've been committed for so long. So it's like, now, like, you know, I got to make sure wherever I go, they got a spot for me and I secure it. So that was the biggest thing that they understood that I didn't. And he was just telling me was like, at this point, you either got Utah or you can go to Texas. He's like, where do you see yourself being in the future? I was like, probably Texas. And he's like, I think you got your answer. And so then, like, I'm balling, and then I go in there, and I just go into the back, and everybody looking at me like, ain't you supposed to be in the front up there? They went in there and took my sign down there. It was crazy. And so, the next day, we just called Herman, and, you know, we was all trying to figure out like, how I secure my spot. We called Herman, and we like, if I could sign today, is it possible? Because, you know, I had the scholarship still. And he's like, absolutely. But he kind of sounded confused because I guess he thought I was already going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So boom, they send in the paperwork, and then later that day I signed it just like that. No visit.
Did they do a ceremony? Did the high school do a?
It happened. So they got the early signing day, and then you got the regular signing. Yeah. So I did it later on with a lot of other guys. It was like 10 of us actually. Yeah. Rather than early.
That's a crazy
story, right?
That's a crazy. Them boys had a squad. I'll tell you though, just on some life stuff, bro. Like, get comfortable making tough decisions.
Yeah,
that's just a part of being a man. Yeah, like that type of confliction through decision, not knowing what the right decision is. Yeah. But then they always say you make the small ones with your mind and the big ones with your heart. Like, get comfortable making tough decisions. Yeah. If you're not making tough decisions in life, chances are you ain't really doing shit worth talking about, stuff worth talking about. And that's kind of how that goes.
And you won't regret it too at the end of the day, because you're like, hey, if it work out, it works out. But you made that decision. Yeah, you was all in.
And you can sleep better knowing I made the call.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Regardless of how it play out, I made the call. So you'll sleep better at that. Well, I can say, I'm glad you came to Texas. Every everybody, especially DJ. I'm interested, DJ. Like you speaking of, I think you touched on one key thing from our time at Texas, which was, Fozzy got there before me because he old. But
he had to throw that in there?
I'm saying our time at Texas too, there was a lull to where, when DJ and it was there, it's like, it was just boom, 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 all the time. Guys after guys after guys. I mean, the draft was full of Texas players, right? And then you didn't really see that much. Yeah. But now I think that's back.
Yeah.
Right? The start of that is back. Yeah. I think I got this question kind of for both of y'all. Like, one, how have you felt like your development has been with now 2 different staffs? And then from the greatest ever, like, what have you seen from his development?
Oh, I'll take that, man. Jaylan's development has been, he's a student of the game. Like, the linebacker room is a good room. Like, you go in there, everybody's listening. I mean, just the whole 9. Everybody's engaged. Everybody's trying to get better, and it comes from the top. Obviously, Coach Choate had a big part to do with that, but Jaylan is a big part of that because he's the oldest one in there. He's the most decorated one in there. So whatever he does, how he moves, how everybody else moves, and hats off to you, man, because I've been in the meeting room this year a couple times a week, every single week, and to see your preparation and your the way you go about your business. I'm talking about off the field. I'm talking about in the classroom, which means a lot. Is that a natural? Is that natural? Or did you learn to do that? Have you always been a student of the game, or you had to kind of learn to do that, knowing that's going to help you on the field?
Yeah, I definitely think that was something that I ended up learning. Luckily, it was earlier, kind of around high school.
Okay.
Just having the coaches that I had, they kind of, being, I would say our high school when I was there, it was elite. Like, they had, like, you really had players that understood their position, understood their role.
Yeah.
And so it was like, the coaches taught you how to watch film, how to dissect plays, how to dissect, certain things that you need to see. And luckily I had a great coach who also coached Nick Bolton. So, so I had Nick Bolton in my room right there next to me. He's 2 years older than me, but, I had somebody to follow. I had somebody to, like, have an example and actually see it, like, right in front of me, and then see him having his success. I understand that it worked.
Yeah.
And so in high school, that's kind of when I learned how to watch film. That's kind of when I understand how to practice certain things like that. And as I got older, I just understood how more and more how important it was, to have those certain things. And, luckily, I started my foundation early, and then, it led to success. And that kind of, like you said, it started at the top, and then other guys followed once they seen the success I had. So.
I'm going to follow-up question. Of course, it's linebacker. I'm going to take it over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But,
the DJ show now.
But being able to mentor Ant Hill, right? Decorated 5-star guy coming out. Everybody knows the potential and the capability of Anthony Hill. Being able to have him early in the year start by you, and is it some pressure to have him on board too? Meaning, I'm talking mentally, because as a middle linebacker, you know more than Ant. It is what it is. Like, more than everybody on the defense because you're the middle backer.
Yeah.
To get him lined up, to get him on board, is that more pressure on you to help others around you, especially a young guy that's a big time player, that will be a big time player at UT?
I would say it's not as much pressure as it would be if I was somebody that was younger or less experienced than I was when Ant came along.
Gotcha. Okay, so you was ready for
exactly.
This.
Yeah. So I was a senior. So at this point, I didn't seen a lot. I didn't, I didn't understood. I didn't had time to understand the game, understand my position, my role, the rest of the guys on the defense. And so, like you said, being the middle linebacker, I embraced that role of having to know what everybody's job is, or being the quarterback of the defense, so to speak. And so when Ant came along, I think for me, I didn't really really see it any kind of way. Instead of, I want him to be just as good as I was, I want him to have somebody that he can ask questions, right. Somebody that he can look up to, somebody that can be like I said, like an example that I had when I was in high school, somebody who's been there, done it, you've seen the success, like, all right, how did I get there? And so, you know, and he's way talented than I was when I came in, for sure. And so, like, lifting with him and working out with him, I was able to see that before he even put the pads on. Yeah. So when he got out there, I understood, okay, there's some things he got to work on. There's some things he got to pick up and learn. Yeah. But for him, you know, I would say he's about ball. You know, he come from a good family. Yeah. And, you know, each week he surprised me. He surprised everybody, I think, you know, with his production. And it was no surprise what he was doing. I think it was just a surprise that he was doing it that early, getting started that early. Yeah. So
when you start talking about the linebacker position, and obviously DJ has had a ton of success there. You've had your own success as well. And you talk about hard decisions that you had to make early on too. Well, I'm going to put another one on your plate. Who got the better hands?
DJ.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there. The world wants to know.
Oh, yeah. Dang, we bring it up.
You know,
stat numbers, we bring it up. I mean, interception.
I know the interception thing.
What you got, 6?
A thing.
Yeah. I give it to DJ because I dropped 2. So, you know.
How many you dropped?
I dropped a couple. Especially in NFL, I dropped a lot. Man.
I ain't even got there yet, but you know, but yeah, man, this dude right here though, like this is the
pinnacle,
the pinnacle of linebacker, and you know, sitting here with DJ now, like I can actually tell you, I remember my freshman year, you know, they got the Hall of Fame or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you noticed, DJ, but you all over there on the football side.
He noticed. He knows.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, so, you know, I go over there and I'm like, you know, me, I just like to look at the trophies and, you know, I'm a Texas. So I'm like, okay, so who were the guys that came before me? Who were the guys, you know, what are the awards that I could go get? And boom, I'm seeing DJ, Derrick Johnson. I'm like, okay, I know Derrick Johnson, but I'm like, let me go look at this tape. And then, you know, that's what I'm saying. And I look at the tape and I'm like, okay, so this is why he got them awards, you know. And then fast forward, you know, this is my junior year. You know, I'm having a great season at this point. And it's like, I think it's like close to my birthday. We just played Baylor. I get this call from DJ. He talking about, man, hey, you had a great season, this and that. And like, I'm still like, I can't get over the fact that DJ calling me, telling me, you know, like, he's really amazed with what I did. And like, you know, I was just like, it was like a full circle moment for me.
So then, with that, I'm curious like, cause you spent a lot of time over there this year, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, so what has his impact been on the room? Not just you, but like the whole room, having him there. What's that been like? How's that helped? Or not? How's he gotten away? What's been the impact?
Like, I think having DJ in that room, it brings a certain level of credibility to, you know, what our coach is saying or what we're watching on tape, or, you know, like things like DJ can give us pointers and like cues on like what works and what done. He been in the league, he done did everything that, you know, that a linebacker can do, honestly. And so for him to give us, you know, certain things that he learned, probably it took him longer to learn it than, you know, like way before, you know, like guys in there first year in college, second year in college, you know, and he telling us things that he probably learned his third year in the league or so on and so forth. So I think for him to bring that knowledge back to us and then give it to us when we're young, we can kind of use it and go out there and, you know, it makes us better linebackers. So he definitely brought a lot to the table for us. And, you know, Cho, he definitely loved it. Shout out to my boy Cho. Just having DJ in that room, being able to coach those guys up, it's going to mean a lot for especially the young ones, you know, going up.
So I'm thinking about that. You've been around, you played some damn good ball for a while now, but you gotten a chance to really see this program like truly turn around.
Right.
What has been one of the biggest differences, not just for this room, not just for the defense as a whole, but for the team, the culture, and then the actual product on the field? What's been one of the biggest differences that like made Texas an elite playoff team versus what it's been over the last couple of years?
I would say the buy-in to, you know, everybody believing in what our coaches are doing, believing into, you know, the game plan, believing into the workouts in the off season, believing into what, you know, Sark is trying to implement as far as culture, you know, the identity of this team. Mm-hmm. Like you probably hear him talk about, you know, protecting the team or, you know, trying to establish a 5-star culture, stuff like that. Well, that takes so much time and it takes so much work. And on top of that, it takes so much sacrifice from not only the coaches but the players too.
Well, and all right, so that's where
the sacrifice.
What's that? Because we know what that is, right? But like, what's that look like? When people hear the word sacrifice, they just imagine that. Well, I imagine you just go to school and go to practice.
All right, I can put it. I say easy way to kind of put it in perspective is, boom, you in college, you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever. And you're at the peak of, being not a young adult, you know what I'm saying? Right. So it was like, and you're in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. You can do a lot of things.
And 6th Street is 10 minutes away.
Boom.
Yeah. Boom, right? And you're in the middle of the season, you know what I'm saying? Or you at the beginning of the season, or you at this point where you're trying to get your body right. You're trying to be in the best physical shape you can be to go perform. And all your friends that aren't playing football, that that might live out there in Austin, regulars or whatever, they telling you, hey, come to 6th Street, come party come kick it with us. And you gotta be like, nah, man, I got practice in the morning, I got workouts in the morning, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I gotta finish this test, I gotta do homework, that way, I'm not risking being ineligible for football, stuff like that. That's sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's protecting the team. That's putting what the team needs, what you need, or not what you need, but the team needs in front of yours. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sacrificing your fun. So down the road, this team is hosting our trophies. You know what I'm saying? We 12-1, whatever, winning the Big 12. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, I think Sark helped with that, but also the guys that had seen it, like me, Jordan Whittington, guys like Sweat, the guys that had seen the difference between what Sark was trying to do and what we had, been struggling to do before him. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so I think that's kind of, how sacrifice.
I'm interested then in like what's been, because like you said, you got something to compare it against.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like, what's been, I don't want to talk about like compare to coaches.
Right.
But like from a culture standpoint, what's been the biggest difference?
What's been the biggest difference, culture standpoint? I would honestly say it's probably that sacrifice piece I was talking about.
He was able to successfully get y'all.
Just more guys willing to, put the team in front of their own personal goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, did that come from the leaders on the team, from a leadership aspect, or was that something that was lamented from a message through the coaches, and then you just had enough people say, yeah, we should probably do that, and then everybody kind of followed from that aspect?
For me personally, from what I experienced and what I saw being on this team, I would say honestly it was the losing that kind of really triggered that. The losing, like I'm saying, we went 5-7, and we lost like 6 straight games. And I think going through that as a team, all of us together kind of triggered that, like, this got to stop. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Texas. Like, we letting down our own fans in our own stadium at home games, losing, to teams that we shouldn't be losing to. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was a trigger. And I'll never forget when we lost to Kansas at home.
I won't forget that either.
Yeah, I don't think nobody will, but
that hurt.
In that locker room after the game, it was one person that stood up. It was Roshan Johnson. And he stood up, and it's been a minute. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I remember him standing up and addressing the team like this was unacceptable. Like, this can't happen no more. And he was like, for the guys that stand, like, we're gonna turn this around. And not like, that's basically what his message was. Right. And like, that's what I'm saying. I think that was the turning point. And I think Sark was just there at the time, and it was really the players, like, the guys that had been there. Like, man, we're tired of this. Like, we know what we're capable of doing, so let's go do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny too, because I think you guys can talk to this. As far as I remember it, and I know it to be, if that's not coming from the players, then it's not going to go as deep.
Yeah,
you'll have those guys that are league bound, probably doing what they need to do. And you have some guys that really look up to them, probably doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
But it ain't gonna make its way to the walk-ons.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make its way to the guys that are genuinely here for these 4 years, whether they know it or not, to help prepare this team. Like, but when it's really on those leaders and it's really in the locker room, everybody's locked in. Yeah, I think it's cool to see that that's still the case.
Jaylan, my favorite story about you probably comes from Malik. He said after practice, you guys would rap Like you guys would sit down and talk. No. Not freestyle. No, I'm not talking about freestyle. Maybe I did freestyle.
Not that kind of. Not that. Look.
Sorry, I
thought it was freestyle.
I
real quick.
You got
beat on.
Okay, not freestyle. Y'all would talk ball basically after practice.
Wrong kind of rap, you know.
I'm an old man.
Different kind of rap. Yeah.
But you guys,
chat.
Exactly. But you guys would talk ball, and he specifically said what you wanted to know was the whys, the whys on offense. Yeah. Why are you guys moving and shifting this player? Why did you check this play? Why did you guys decide to use this technique or this concept? He said that's what you wanted to know. He said and it was reciprocated, right? He wanted to know that from you. You guys are trying to figure out on the offensive side of the ball, and defensive side of the ball, what the cheat codes are.
Exactly.
Right? All that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
That's my favorite story about you. And is that kind of football think tank, those sessions happening all across that team right now? Because the football IQ right now
is going up.
And yours is through the roof, by the way. Yeah. You're a true student of the game. You should have won Defensive Player of the Year, by the way.
I'm going to ask that later. I want that one.
But you're witnessing these think tank sessions where you guys were one of the first groups to do that. Because my best friends on the team were like offensive guys, quarterback, wide receiver, and I remember learning all these little tricks of the trade. From
What was y'all group
I didn't know.
called?
Yeah,
What was y'all group called, y'all?
The Wood, baby. Yeah, baby. But I learned through those think tank sessions about the game. Yeah. And it sounds like you and Malik had some of that going on.
Yeah. For me, I was like, there's no better person to ask than the quarterback of the offense. And credit to my coaches because they helped me understand how at middle linebacker on the defense, that's the main person. That's the main person they're trying to put in the bind on offense. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Whether they want to run the ball, they want to throw it out there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, okay, I really want to understand like what is it that makes y'all want to pick on the backer, or what is it that makes y'all want to rather than giving the ball here, I'm gonna throw it out there because it looks better. Certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get into the quarterback's the offensive. I've never really been on the offense at an elite level like in Sark's offense. So. Just talking to Malik or Quinn about what they do kind of just helped me understand how offenses are trying to pick on us, or pick on me.
You're a football investigator, man.
Yeah,
you pick up on clues to solve the crime, to solve the play. You do it well, brother.
I appreciate that.
Is that something from, you talked about your high school experience and having a good coach in high school, but was that something that he kind of did for you all even back in those days, or is that something that you picked up on your own and you was like, hey, I'm going to take this on myself to be the best player I can be by preparing myself in that way?
I think it started in high school because I saw a lot of success there, just being a good player. And I think it carried on of just me wanting to be, on the level of DJ, as sort of a linebacker. At Texas, you want to be great, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's what you come there to do. You want to be just like the rest of the guys that they call Longhorn legends or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was just like, what are the next steps, or what can I do more to improve my play, to improve what I'm doing on the field? So I think it just kind of stemmed from me just having a want to be better, wanting to be great.
Man, I wanted to ask this one because I remember this affected me, and I know a lot of us who study stats and are dorks online like me. Like I really wanted to protest and get mad about you not winning the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12 in 2022. And I think a lot of it, you shifted the games for this team, which I think was the biggest thing. And this is not taking anything away from Uzoma or anything like that, but I love this story. You had 119 tackles, the most for any Longhorn since 2014, 10 tackles for a loss, 3 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, team leading 4 interceptions, and like we mentioned, several game-changing plays. And you didn't win Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And so I was mad. We were all complaining. Everybody was bitching about that. And there was a part to the story that I never heard. And I didn't realize you sent Felix a congratulatory text. Wow. And I think a lot of people who don't know you don't understand your character as a human being, the way you carry yourself, who you are. But it just sent you even further up that list for me on that. But talk a little bit about that and that whole thing and process.
Yeah, man. So I ain't gonna lie, I was looking, like to see who the awards and who was winning what or whatever. But I didn't know when they came out. So boom, I get on Twitter one time and my phone is blowing up, and I look and I'm seeing and it's like Felix won the Defensive Player of the Year or whatever. And the first thing I see was like Roshan had said something about it, and like other guys was like tagging me, and then you got the the Longhorn fans, and it's just all going.
That's
and
a
like,
spicy group.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, man? Spicy group.
Yeah,
man.
right.
Yeah, don't mess with them. But you know what I'm saying. But I think for me, it wasn't really something that I was like, man, I gotta have this. You know what I'm saying? So. Like, when I seen who won it, at the time, K-State, they had, a heck of a team right there, a heck of a defense. And he was kind of the snake of that defense, the head of the snake for that defense. And I mean, you got to give credit when credit is due. And I just told him, congrats on the season that he had. Best of luck to him. But it's not, never something that I really would hold a grudge to. Yeah. Especially not him. He didn't decide it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like, it was just kind of like I didn't really see it as a big deal. It's just me. I kind of just give credit when it's due.
What did he say anything back?
He just said appreciate it. And it wasn't nothing like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing crazy, just a casual.
I'll tell you, first of all, them numbers right there get you nominated for Defensive Player of the Year in the league. But that said, I mean, what made you come back after that year? Because that's a year right there. I can definitely see you cowboy hat into the sunset. We'll see him in April.
Right. I think for me, that was like really my first year, I would say, on the stage, you know what I'm saying? Like my first full season being a starter, being a middle linebacker for the defense. So I was just like, man, I got a little taste of success. I'm like, man, I want to come back, you know what I'm saying? Especially being a Longhorn. I think that was really what it was. Like, I feel like if I was at any other school,
Utah,
Utah included, I'm probably, I'm probably going to take my talents to the NFL. But I just thought, like, man, like, I couldn't go wrong with coming back for another year at the University of Texas. Yeah,
and I mean that said, now looking back at this year,
right.
Still happy you made that choice?
Oh, absolutely. That was part of the reason that I did come back. It was just understanding, the potential and the talent that this team still had. You know what I'm saying? I contributed a lot to it. And like, seeing this team grow from being 5-7 or whatever, I feel like we still weren't done. We didn't even win the Alamo Bowl when we played. So it was like, man, that's not how I really want to end, my career at Texas. And so coming back, and what I'm saying, we went all out. We fell a little bit short, but
man, you are a Big 12 champion.
yeah. We'll be in that stadium.
We'll talk about 2023 for a long time. They're those teams, and you guys were one of them for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, for your and we're probably wrapping up now, but for your legacy here at the University of Texas, I think a lot of kids can resonate with your story more than Anthony Hill's story, because there's not a lot of 5-star decorated linebackers that come in early. You 3-star, right?
Yeah. Lowest rated recruit in the class.
Really? See, for me, being that 5-star guy, I love stories like that, because there's no reason why I can't work hard. There's no reason why I don't have no excuses because of guys like yourself. Yeah. So for guys looking at this podcast right now, what do you tell young guys, 2-star, 3-star players that get looked over here and there? And they don't even have to come to Texas, but guys that are not rated as high, how do they make it like Jaylan Ford?
I say the biggest thing is you gotta, you gotta bet on yourself. That's probably the biggest thing is you, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't, have faith in you can do just as good as the next person, then, there's nowhere really for you to go and, be successful and, soar. Yeah. Like you should, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be okay with spreading your wings, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. Like and so I think that's just the biggest thing is believing in yourself. And then at the same time, you got to put in that work. I think that's the one thing that even guys that come in as 5-stars, they forget that part. It doesn't matter how talented you are. You know what I'm saying? If you don't work hard, you're gonna get beat by the person that does. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, developing that work ethic and understanding that being okay or not being satisfied is probably your best attribute.
So my last question for you, this just popped in my head, and this is probably for you, wisdom for you. Take that same mentality that you have, that same mentality, I was a 3-star, but made it to a 5-star, or whatever, however you want to put it to. when you go to the NFL, it doesn't matter where you get picked up, early or later. All that matters is when you get there, bro. I'm telling you, I've played in the league for 14 years, and I played beside rookie free agents starting next to me. They have the same opportunity as me. But just like you said, you got to freaking work your tail off and don't get distracted, stay healthy and all that good stuff, but work your tail off. And everything's possible if you bet on yourself, man. So that mindset you came in from high school to University of Texas, keep it. Keep it, bro. Keep it.
Yeah. Can I steal one more before you get out of here?
Yeah,
man. This shout out to Higgs, who helps produce the show and doesn't get a lot of credit, but he had a great point. I love the story of the Dick Butkus card. Can you tell this story? Because a lot of people thought it was staged or fake.
Yeah, I bet they did. What are the chances this dude is walking around with a Dick Butkus card? But so you know, with the word of the NIL now you can get deals from anybody, whatever. You could, have partnerships with anybody. So I was lucky enough to get a partnership with Panini, which is the trading card.
Yep.
Yeah, and so boom, I'm in there signing, I'm autographing because they're gonna have my card or whatever, and a certain amount of packs gonna have my signature card or whatever. And so I get done doing that, and just as a cool little gesture, he gave me the dude gave me a pack of cards, whatever, and I opened it. And I flipped through them. I got a couple of okay ones. No one was signature, but I did get this Dick Butkus card, right? Oh. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect for me. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know who Dick Butkus is, but I do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And this is, you know what I'm saying? I know ball. You know what I'm saying? And this was earlier on this year, early on during the beginning of the season. So I'm like, man, this is my goal anyway, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get that award, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be up there. Derrick Johnson, Jaylan Ford. But anyway, so I was just we got this guy named Kevin Coleman who he comes in and helps us out. And Kevin Carroll. But anyway, he was like, you should have a ritual kind of deal, or you should have something that once you tap your pocket, or you know what I'm saying, you look at a card or you hear a song, it gets you in that moment, that mode, okay, it's time to work. You strictly business. You you in a mode like a Mamba versus a Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like that, and I was just that's gonna be part of mine. So I keep it in my wallet to let me know when I get into the facility or when I step on that field. My main focus, my main goal is to be the best middle linebacker that I could be on the field. Like DJ would say, be the better linebacker than that guy could be a better running back, or that guy could be a better quarterback. Yeah. And so, that was part of my thinking of, keeping that card on me. And it's a couple other things. I got a song, whatever, I say certain things to myself, kind of, close my eyes and visualize stuff on the field, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? It get me in that mode, but that's just part of it.
Awesome. I got last one for you. Since you talk about getting in the zone and we talk about rapping, can you actually rap?
Nah, I can't. Can you rap?
Oh, we'll freestyle.
I ain't a freestyle. You know what I'm saying? I say the coolest thing about that locker room is you can find out who can rap and who freestyle.
Who's the best rapper on the team?
On the team, the best rapper?
Don't Keelan actually make songs?
Yeah, Keelan does actually make songs. Right. I don't really see him freestyle that much, but he can make music. Yeah. I say anybody that can freestyle. It's a couple guys.
Freestyle kids.
They're kind of young though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's
young bucks.
The young bucks, man. They be getting on their mic.
Hold on, are y'all recording this stuff? Huh? Are we recording any of this?
No,
these freestyles? Because we used to record ours.
Yeah, just
we need
some
names.
Yeah,
young guys.
Yeah.
There's some CDs out there. Freestyles.
Don't record it.
No phones. No
They be
phones.
saying
there are VY freestyles out there on YouTube. You want VY freestyle on YouTube?
That's true.
VY freestyle. Legendary.
Yeah. Freestyle Friday for me. I used to be with Franco, Cam, Drew, and even Rod Wright. I didn't play with Rod Wright, but he's from the H-Town too. What we do is we used to call each other on Fridays. You don't answer the phone. You have to freestyle on the voicemail, and then you come back and listen to the voicemail.
Man, hold up.
Damn, you crazy. I'm gonna call you right back. No answer. You had to answer, bro.
I'll call you right back.
So So I will say it's a couple dudes on the team. I'm gonna shout them out. You know, Jordan Whittington and Jade Barron. They got this little thing where they battle rap. So they don't be freestyling, but they'll do some battle rapping. They'll bring it. So that's pretty cool. That's really good.
Appreciate you, baby.
Yeah,
Jaylan, we appreciate you being here, man. I know I'll speak for everybody when we're so excited to see what you do next, like what you meant to this team and this program. Like we can't put it into words, and so we appreciate you, and we're excited to be fans of yours for years to come.
Absolutely. I hope you end up in Houston.
Yeah, we're gonna see you.
D'Amico, baby, we can eat out there.
For real.
I appreciate you having me, man. It was a blast, man. I hate this. I get to do this, one final time. You know what I'm saying?
You can come back anytime.
Oh, okay, yeah. Say less, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I come back with a little experience.
Only thing is, next time that's my seat. Like, I normally sit right here.
Nah, they got the linebackers on the end of the table. The biggest guys in the
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaylan. Hook 'em, man.
Appreciate y'all.